Welcome back to APAC South. We're here for match number 2. It is an Aussie and Southeast Asian team going head-to-head. No more Aussie bash like we had. It is Wildcard in 7th Heaven. We've already had one so far. Have you recovered yet, Guz? I know it took a lot out of you.
Yeah, I had to go drink 3 bottles of water after that, which is great to see. Apparently I was muted in Discord, so I'm all over the shot here.
I don't want to hear anyway.
Yeah, look, that's what you'd come to expect. But no, really entertaining match. The Knights got the dub, which means I'm also equal first in predictions as well, and we know that's what we all care about.
Well done.
Thank you.
No, we're not going to give you any credit. I know we're, hanging on Rob a little bit during the break, but no, it is. Let's move on. Map number 2, game 2, Wildcard 7th Heaven. Xenox, we'd already discussed a little bit about these teams.
Yeah.
Give me the cliff notes. Both of these teams looking to hopefully bounce back, but it's only going to be one of them.
Well, I mean, for 7th Heaven, I guess, we'll start with them. They had that close overtime loss against Elevate, which, it's a good Elevate roster, so there's nothing too much to say in terms of that being a bad loss for 7th Heaven. For Wildcard, obviously, there's more. We're going to have to go in depth on them. But sticking with 7th Heaven, look, we've said it a few times. This is Playday 3 now, of course. We had lowered expectations for them coming into the season, and those have certainly perked up a little bit. They're sitting in 3rd place. They had that big result against Order to start the season, but how much can you really buy into that? That's the question I sort of posed to this matchup now. That was match 1. That was literally match 1. It's actually the first game of the entire season for APAC South, right? And maybe Order just got kind of caught off guard. They then go and lose to Elevate. Are we seeing a bit of a downward trend here for 7th Heaven? That's sort of the storyline I want to set for this matchup. And on the flip side, I think we're going to see an upward trend for Wildcard.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to hone in quickly on ED and Souffle. They've both been popping off in the frag department. ED going 6-3, Souffle 3-0. So both those players will need to be shut down here by Wildcard if they want to stand a chance.
Yeah, and Souffle, just to touch on, is actually Triple Lift, the player from this roster last year as well. But let's flip it over. You'd already mentioned Wildcard a little bit, Xenox. Guys, this is the team that we've been following for so long in OCN and this region. And coming into it, look, it wasn't a great start for them, but maybe we're starting to see a glimmer of hope at the end of that tunnel.
Ooh, maybe. I think this is the big test for them tonight. This is really their proving ground. Can they finally establish some points on the board? It has been a very, very rough start for these boys, both on the standings, but individually in terms of statistics. If you want to dive in, the highest on their team with the cost percentage, 58%, Vinny and Geo. That is way behind some of the top teams in the league, averaging 70 and 80. So that proves that not only are they not playing their best, they're also not consistently having an impact in these rounds. So really keep an eye on that as we head into this match. Can these players step up and have a consistent impact across this map?
You really going to take that, Xenox? He's talking smack about your boy Geo.
Look, probably warranted. I mean, Geo's gotten off to a bit of a slow start. We did see some sort of return to form in the OCN this week, so I'm hoping that can now translate over to APAC, and it's going to need to. If they are going to win this, they're going to need a fit and firing Geo if they are going to beat 7th Heaven. Can I just say, though, firstly, before we move on, Imran and Silex are basically identical.
If Silex hadn't have gotten a haircut, they literally would have looked like they had the same long hair, beautiful long hair.
Imran is basically Silex if Silex kind of let himself go a little bit.
Wow, mate. I was going to say, I'm not sure whether Wildcard is a Rainbow Six team or a heavy metal band, but I'm sure we'll see that resurgence if APAC South doesn't come too off, or maybe they'll go down that different career path. Let's have a look at the map veto, though, for these two teams. It's a proving ground, but what will be our arena? It is Consulate. I'm pretty sure this is our first Consulate for the entire season. This is quite a rarity these days.
Yeah, we actually just had our first Villa, and now we're going to have our first Consulate, and then I'm sure we're going to get double Oregon just for Guz in the next 2. It's good to see the variety, though. The Clubhouse, again, being an option that's been denied this time, though, by Wildcard, so they did have that as a bit of a comfortable pick if required. But I think Consulate's a good pick here. We haven't obviously seen any team actually play it, so it's hard to sort of judge ourselves the way that 7th Heaven play on it. But for Wildcard themselves, they got good history on this map. So I think that for me, I very much like this map. Backs my prediction in, which was, of course, for Wildcard. In saying that, though, 7th Heaven could surprise us.
Yeah, I am a little bit scared here for 7th Heaven. I guess you can make the argument we don't have enough history to make a fair judgment of whether or not 7th Heaven are actually decent on this map. But look at Wildcard's results. 7-1 Order in the November Major, 7-1 Knights in OCN last year, Elevate 7-2 OCN last year. That is very strong. Keep in mind, again, Elevate, they're at their peak then, they're not as strong now. But honestly, Xenox might be onto something here. Maybe Wildcard, with this home ground advantage of sorts, might be able to pull off a dub.
Well, if there's a way that this team at the bottom of the ladder with 0 points can get back into it and challenge 7th Heaven in 3rd place, it may well be on their home turf. Raven and his friend, why don't you guys go and cast this game?
I was waiting for that payback, and it's fair enough. It's fair enough. I'll cop it. I'm sorry, Dev Marta, Mr. Worldwide. We are here, though, and waiting in the wings to get underway. And Raven, they're actually leaning a little bit more Wildcard here, even though all of what we've seen from 7th Heaven have been on fire.
Yeah, look, I think the form from 7th Heaven has been good, as opposed to Wildcards being very patchy, but I have to agree, you know, the assessment, Consulate has historically been a very strong map for Wildcard. So if they can hone in on at least a little bit of that, we really do have a good match.
Good form from 7th Heaven. A good map for Wildcard. We'll see which one plays out with a heavier favour. We're into map 2 of Playday 3. And I'm keen to see whether Wildcard can back their form up from OCN.
Me too. And I just like to hope that they've maybe just embraced the fact that this is their situation. Things aren't going to be the same as last stage or last season. So they've got to loosen up and play something a little bit different. We really did start to see a little bit of that from them in OCN. So this is their chance. This is going to be a big match against 7th Heaven. And this is a great band to start off with from 7th Heaven. Getting rid of that IQ facilitates, you know, Valkyrie cameras outside, for example, to give you that really critical info. So honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if we see a Valkyrie band come out from Wildcard.
Oh, okay. They're just doubling down on it. Well, we'll see. Surely this is the ban for Valk. We will not let Valk slip through this defender phase. And there you have it. It's not going to happen, Raven. As unfortunate as it may be for me. And we'll see what this fourth and final ban will be. So far, fair bit of intel denial for the attackers. And a little bit of intel denial for the defenders as well.
It's been a pretty fun little band phase, honestly. The IQ Dokkaebi, it continues to be fun with the Goyo. Just getting rid of some of those extra shields and the shields that add a bit of spice, a bit of heat, if you will. So, look, this is the most colourful band phase I think I've seen in a very long time in Rainbow Six Siege esports.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I think this is great. I'm really excited to see how this does shape the map. I don't think it's going to change, you know, the meta we've seen on Consulate a whole lot. But speaking to Consulate, we haven't seen a whole lot of it recently.
No, I honest to God, I can't remember the last time I actually saw Consulate being played. I think it would have had to have been last year. So I'm curious, and I'm pretty sure it was Wildcard that we saw played against Elevate in their 7-2 dominant victory that they were able to pull away with. The big thing is, right, and it's the one thing that we continue to talk about on the desk, it's the one thing we keep talking about in the casts, and it's warranted. Wildcard are in a very strange predicament right now where they don't have everything that they would want, right? They don't have the player that they need, and their coach is stepping in. There's so many parts about this conversation that kind of lean into Wildcard being wounded. However, I think on a map like Consulate, it makes them so much more dangerous, especially if we see them lean into the play style of a little bit more loosey-goosey, a little bit more free. I think that it's really going to cause 7th Heaven some issues here. So that's one thing I'm 100% keeping my eye on, 5
seconds to go.
Yeah, we will see how that pans out. Do you want to add a disclaimer too? We talked about we haven't seen Consulate played for a while, talking very specifically about APAC and OCN. I know actually it's had a bit of play in EU lately, but at least locally or in this region, not quite as much. So, look, I'm excited to see, and this is a very old school mirror strat that is happening here in that public bathroom on the first floor. There's, I guess, the old meta, or a meta that we've seen a long time ago. Playing that mirror to watch towards the yellow stairs, and okay, no wall denial at all. In fact, if I had checked, which I hadn't quite checked yet, there is no wall denial on this side of 7th Heaven. It's a free opening of that wall.
Wonder if that's a read that Wildcard have had on their prep phase and just said, you know what, we're not going to leave this undetected. We're just going to go for it here. So how much of an effect this first floor, I'm going to say roam, but vertical control will be from Ray. That's the big key for me now, is what's the decision from Wildcard? They've obviously got a fair bit to clear. There's only 2 players on site, but of course that vertical control will pretty much be able to deny most of the safe plants. But it does look like they're actually putting a fair bit of attention down to Garage here now.
Yeah, and I guess to break down what 7-7 is doing here, they've really looked at this and... Oh, that's a clean shot. They've looked at this and they've thought, okay, we want to shift the delay. We're not trying to delay them opening Garage. We want to delay them doing everything after that. So if you can't get the piano control, it makes it really hard to get in and plant. That being said, though, if you are caught sleeping, you're not watching that entry effectively enough, then they're just going to get in and plant anyway. So it's really just going to come down to how tight 7-7 can play this.
Well, I mean, if you look at the first floor around Piano right now, I don't think they actually have any vertical lines right now. Obviously, Ray will be able to go and open it up, but see, it's going to be too little too late by the time they get to Silex. They can't deny this right now. He's going to stick it, and he may fall to the smoke. No, he just gets out in time. They will be able to catch him in the back end. And now it's into a 2 versus 4. Vinny is going to have to step up massively with Emo Rin here. See you later. 7th Heaven.
Oof.
Somehow, Pika manages to find Vinny at the back, but he may be able to long-arm this.
This is a very tough post-play for Emo Rin right now, but he does nail it. Wildcard will open up with the first attack, and look, it was almost on command in a way there, Manic. I said, 7-7, if they're not too careful, Wildcard will be able to slip in and just get that plant down, and that is what happened. On top of that, that post plant where you have garage control and planted for front of White Van is one of the hardest post plants to deal with as a defense, because the attackers can sit back with their long scopes and their excellent assault rifles, and you can't do a whole lot about it unless you hit some really good shots.
I mean, that's exactly what Vinny's done, right? That was, I think maybe it highlights your point to a T, is that was a 2 versus 4 in a post plant situation. More often than not, you're going to see defenders at the very least put the pressure on and ensure that the plant, or at least the post plant, is successfully won. But in that instance, there's just so many long lines, and Vinny was the perfect example of just how deep he can play. And now it all comes into it, because we're going to see it re-attempted here from 7th Heaven. I would assume if they're going to do this, they're going to have to be a little bit more... I think they're going to have to pre-prep a fair bit of those vertical holes for Ray, so if things start to... If push comes to shove, he can try to deny from there, but I guess they were leaning on Sino being able to use those smoke babes to deny, and they all came in just too little too late, and that's just what happens. So don't want to hold on to it for too much longer, because with no wall denial once again, Wildcard will have the free garage wall to play with.
On top of that, as you said, I haven't seen them open vert holes for plant yet, and also their attack lineup, or their defense lineup, sorry, it doesn't bring any extra layer of intel. Valkyrie's banned, so you can't use that, but they're not bringing Maestro for Evil Eyes. They're not bringing even a secondary BPC, bulletproof camera. Nothing to watch the plant, nothing to assist with that at all. So it's really, they have to eyeball this, and if they miss it, which it totally can be, a little, just a second, I think it's again going to be a comfortable plan for Wildcard. It looks like they're going to do similar.
Oh,
Pika trying to get aggressive, and Emo capitalizes beautifully.
Well, a common air jab place for Pika to be trying a run out there. So Emo just sitting perfectly while the rest of his team go to work on the walls. They've been able to take down one of the close ADSs to that garage wall, meaning that any smokes that do decide to come in, should there need to be any. Ooh, that's gnarly. That's a big pick. See you later, Emo.
It's a big pick, and it's just the kind of things that are going to be important is 7th Heaven are really going to have to rely on these picks. Now, Wildcard, they are all situated outside garage right now. Got a player watching yellow. They have vertical for the plant. That has recently been opened. Souffle is playing piano with Ray overwatching him. So this is a different story now for 7th Heaven. They are going to have to be watching those lines, and Wildcard are going to have to try and do something now about Piano, and they have put in a beautiful pinch to try and clear this out.
It's exactly what they've looked for. Unfortunately, with Pat going down, though, makes things a little bit more difficult. It doesn't look like they've got the pressure that they were hoping for here, and they need those vertical lines. There's absolutely no way they can try to funnel through. There's also the Banshee in between the car and the van that will significantly give away anything that they're looking to achieve. So, I believe, was that Geo going all the way across to the other side of the map for this clear? There you go.
Yeah, could be looking for a kitchen pinch here, and there he goes. Hatch open, Hatch drops. He's going to push in and try and stop this plant denial, which is the smoke, and he is going to do so. Actually misses the kill on Decino. That's a massive miss, and all of a sudden 7th Heaven, they have full control of the scoreboard right now, Manic.
Well, we said Geo needs to step up, but this is probably too much to ask for, and it is. 7th Heaven, much better round from them defensively speaking. They keep 4 alive at the end.
They do. It was a lot better. You know, they traded out that opening pick at least, and then they had that vertical line. So Wildcard, before they went for that plant, they identified that. They said, well, we can't do the same as last time. We can't rely on not getting that control. We're going to have to try and do something about Piano. Didn't happen. The pinch didn't work out. Pat was the first one to fall there, and by the time Geo turned around to try and do that pinch from behind in Kitchen, just it was all lost. He was the only one left.
So 7th Heaven, and I think they're in a really good position right now, because they have most definitely been able to back that one up, and that's massive for your confidence, for that morale booster right after a round where, particularly you would not have wanted to let that slip, and the way it slipped as well. So lobby Piano hold now for the defensive side, and well, you just have to see this vertical control from 7th Heaven. They're not really going to have a choice here, meaning Wildcard will most likely look to clear as soon as they can, and the old Wildcard would be doing this very slow and methodically, but the new Wildcard, I'm curious to see how they deal with this, because obviously losing Diesel there, probably, I would say, their loudest player, and their morale booster in itself. Going fast is definitely going to cause a bit of chaos for both teams.
It's a good point about Diesel. They didn't just lose a solid player overall, but they lost a really good teammate. He was a very big leader in this team, and so that is why there's just been such a big hole to fill. And it's not that Silex is a bad player. He's actually an ex-pro himself, and has stayed in touch with the game as their coach. So he knows what he's doing. I'm sure he may be a bit rusty, but it's not like they're just playing with someone that's not battle hardened. So they are having to learn and adapt to this new style that they can play. And I like this. I thought they might have gone for the admin clear, but I really like that they're not. I like the Yellow Stairs take. I think it's probably better for the playstyle they want to play right now, but Ray taking out Vinny is going to make that tougher.
Certainly is. He's been the big hitter for Wildcard in the first 2 rounds. Now Ed, ED, sorry, edging right on the edge of CEO window, and he can just stay there for as long as he needs, because they're not really going to be able to do too much about clearing this position. Maybe Pat's nade might be able to flush him out, but that's massive from Souffle. And just like that, it is starting to crumble a little bit, but Pat and Geo both even the odds here, and they give Wildcard a good look at it.
They do. 3 versus 3 is not a terrible position to be in, but they still don't have top floor control, which is going to be really critical for the bomb site that they're trying to attack here. Geo still hanging out repelled on the private bathroom side, and Pat hanging out outside yellow. So 7th Heaven very much in control of the round at this stage. And Wildcard, just time is going to start really working against them.
So it's a decision here, as they now have the vert control in which they would hope for. They've got 2 players being able to flick on those cams. Still 7 alive at you know, the 40-minute mark, that 40-second mark rather, that is still a fair bit of info that they can look to use, and you can see them now droning ahead. 35 seconds, Raven. Have they done enough?
It's an excellent question, Manic. Wildcard are looming now with that meeting control, but Sino is still unnoticed. There's a trade happening, beautifully covered by Pecan on the Visa stairs. 20 seconds, Manic can Wildcard get this plant down.
Well, Pat's on site. They finally destroy default here. Do they have the line to try and hold from? Emo Rin's going to be able to spot the feed out. Now he has to go quite large and deny Ray, who is nowhere near it. Plant will be down. It is a 2v1 post-plant situation. And as he gets... Oh no, that's not the line that he's looking to fight on every day of the week there. Wildcard will just be able to sit back and wait. That's exactly what they've done. A great round from them, all things considered, and a second round on the board.
Was, honestly, because they didn't give themselves much time. I think 7th Heaven maybe gave a little bit too much respect to Wildcard's ability to get to site with just little time and only the meeting control. No one watching the hatch drop, so we just saw a player drop down, run around to the other side and get the plant down, not covered at all. So felt like that was one that 7th Heaven probably let slip away. I think especially with a 3v3, 30 seconds to go, it's going to favor the defense. But anyway, Wildcard, this is good. They're showing up, showing some decent form, Manic. I think this is going to be a tough match for 7th Heaven.
It's definitely not going to be as easy as, well, the last two games we've seen in APAC South for Wildcard. It really has been hit and miss, but this is one thing that we highlighted at the very start of this season, right? Diesel left really early on in the or very close to the first play day for APAC South and OCN for Wildcard. And we had wondered, you know, how they were going to fill it, what they were going to be able to do. Obviously, they've just had to fill in with Silex, and, you know, there were heaps of conversations around all the potentials that might have come about from this. But there is absolutely no denying right now that Wildcard are looking very comfortable. Well, I mean, I say very comfortable considering what's going on and where they've been and where they're going. I think that they're starting to get used to this and starting to get used to the play style of having your coach in, having a, I mean, you said battle hardened, a lesser battle hardened player. So now this could really spell some warning signs, some danger signs, and I like that. That may catch those air jabs as they come over the top here, which Emo Rin is looking to hit. And there's the first one. And there's the second one.
Yup, and air jab goes off. No one there, though. Bit of a weird one. I'm looking at some good adaptation here from 7th Heaven. They're bringing the Aruni on ED. I know they brought it last round, but I think it's going to be very effective for that late round presence that 7th Heaven didn't quite succeed in. They've got the gate on the meeting hatch, so they can, again, maintain this vertical control. I don't know, I feel like they're putting themselves in a good position to win this round. They really just have to be able to go toe-to-toe with Wildcard, probably in the frag department.
Oh. And that's where things start to really fall apart. I mean, Wildcard have some huge hitters, and that's not to say that 7th Heaven don't, but some of these players can put up some massive numbers, and Vinny right now has started off in such a great fashion alongside Emo Rin. This, I don't know whether 7th Heaven will have that raw mechanic ability that Wildcard have as well. I know that they're a good team. I'm not saying anything to the contrary, but most definitely it's going to be a tall order. No matter who you are in this league, going toe-to-toe in terms of the frag department, winning your ones is what Wildcard have to achieve. That's what they've got to lean on now, and it looks like they're feeling pretty confident to do so as well.
Still a bit over a minute to go, but so right, there's a big man advantage in the favor of Wildcard and in the way for 7th Heaven. 7th Heaven also just playing very patient right now, and I think that's dangerous. If I was 7th Heaven, I feel like some aggression is what's going to be needed. Just trying to demoralize Wildcard a little bit or make them feel a lot more pressure. And at the moment, they're just getting this map control and finding these picks. Pecan has been completely isolated in admin. And Wildcard are absolutely storming towards a round win here, man.
Well, this is really nice to see if you're an ANZ fan. Souffle in a 1 versus 5. This will be a near flawless, if not flawless, round from Wildcard. As he inches around the corner, he will be met. No, Pat's looking down at the line of piano, so it's a free kill. I really don't think this is doable. There's 35 seconds. And, oh. And it's just so many lines, so many players to have to deal with, plus the diffuser. It's in the bag. Wildcard, have they won this game in the veto process?
Look, I think the veto has definitely gone in favor of Wildcard. That being said, we're only 4 rounds deep. And I'm certainly guilty as well of thinking that Wildcard are doing well early and then later in the match fall. Their Q-confirm match from round 1 stands out in my mind. They got the first 2 rounds, they looked fantastic. And then they lost 7 straight.
Yeah.
So I guess there's always this essence with Wildcard where it could just be one thing that derails the rest of their map. I'm still skeptical in their consistency, but it's looking good so far, Manic. They are really showing up against 7th Heaven here on Consulate. And I feel like 7th Heaven are going to be feeling a lot of pressure right now.
The Pulse being brought as well as the Yana being swapped out for the Jackal there. It'll be interesting when it comes to that top floor because obviously, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is one of the sites you really need all 3 floors with a fair bit of presence, and when you do that, you run very thin, and you run the risk of being swarmed. But you just, I don't know whether you can go without that vertical control, whether you can go without that pressure, and I think the Jackal is an excellent pick to very early on for Wildcard to be able to take that top floor control and push players maybe just across into admin.
5 seconds insertion.
Regardless though, Teller's basement defense is going to be a tough one to crack.
Definitely correct there, Manic, about you needing to really control all 3 floors. So traditionally with the defense of this, you would have most of your players on the top floor and the bottom floor. And you actually leave that middle one a bit vacant. You're trying to bait the attackers to try and take this plant in A, in Tellers, but it's not safe. You can see a lot of vertical holes there. They've also got the pulse from below. They've got 3 C4s in the pocket to deny. There's going to be some work required if you want to plant there. So you either take admin, or you can take garage across and really put pressure in towards the archives down below. But that's not easy either, because that's a very horizontal push. So that's where the challenges come with this site.
So all things considered, intrigued to see how Wildcard play this one out. And just some early intel there for ED. Nice little repels, looking straight into admin. And right now for 7th Heaven, there's a fair bit of movement. And who is on that top floor right now? Is there any There's no presence on top floor whatsoever from 7th Heaven, meaning they have 5 down below. Interesting.
Interesting, but definitely something that I have seen done before. I feel like Wildcard are going to be loving this though, because they're just giving them so much control nice and early, which is usually a big difficulty on this attack. They're going to have a lot of it. They got Pat here with the sledge. Got some breach charges on the Zofia of Geo. So you're going to open up a lot of lines of sight, and you can use those multi-floor lines of sights to deny the vertical holes that are prepared. So it's just going to be about dealing with this pulse potentially. Either way, I feel like this is a much more comfortable spot for Wildcard to be in right now.
Prepping all those Banshees, and just like that, there it goes. The C4 from Souffle outside of the building as well. Out through the vertical line being made. Really gnarly. Silex is on site right now, and I don't know where. Oh, Edie is on the other side of the map. Are they going to go? Oh, this is massive. Can they even deny that from there? Souffle, he is absolutely scrambling to try and make something. There's no chance, and now in a 4 versus 5, they have that top floor control. This is... I don't even know if this is achievable for 7th Heaven.
It's really going to be tough. It's not an easy top floor retake, and Wildcard are fragging out to stop this retake from happening. 2 7th Heaven players left to try and make it happen. 23 seconds though. It's not going to work out particularly well. It's all on Sino. He's trying to push in. It gets one onto Pat. Very little time though. He's still got a drop. Not even going to get to the hatch. Geo will close it out for Wildcard. Beautiful read from them and well executed.
I don't know whether that's unfortunate timing or what it is, but ED completely away from sight with no information, and you could see there Souffle was absolutely scrambling to try to make vertical holes to throw his C4 right. Actually, maybe it wasn't even Souffle because he had already thrown his C4. Regardless, though, that would have been incredibly frantic. And now Wildcard have set themselves up for a massive first half here. This could really be the game in the pocket if they're able to convert this round.
Really feels that way, Manic. I feel like Wildcard have just done such a good job adapting to 7th Heaven's defenses. And 3 rounds in a row now. 2 Wildcard, lobby press. Not successful at all for 7th Heaven. Teller's Archives, they only attempted once, not successful. Garage Cafeteria is all they've had. They won round number 2 relatively convincing. They finally get to repeat it again. But they have struggled on these defenses, and credit to Wildcard as well. They have been reading into what 7th Heaven has been doing and adapting and countering it really effectively.
Well, I guess when push comes to shove, Raven, a best of 1, there's really anything that's possible, and
10 seconds remaining.
right now this is incredible signs for the Australian team.
5 seconds left before.
But that's the thing, you really don't want to count out 7th Heaven no matter what's happening here. There's still a massive opportunity that when Wildcard go to the defensive side, they're going to be in all sorts of trouble. Once again, you're going to see Pika on that one, Might. Wonderful Marshall's been able to capture that, and it was what actually caused 7th Heaven one of their opening picks in the first 2 rounds. Geo needs to be very careful there. The repel gave everything away, and there's no air jab on there yet, and probably won't be, so Pika may just continue to play the dangerous game.
May just do. Wildcard changing it up. Very big presence on this east side. Guess just concerned that what they tried to do in those first couple of rounds was really not working out or too adaptable. But either way, this is a good first minute burned off here, and Wildcard have unsuccessfully gained a good entry. In fact, a double for 7th Heaven. That is a great start to this round for them.
That's absolutely huge there. Souffle just sat back, and there's the double pick across into admin. Emo finds at least 1, but it's all on the back of Silex here. Well, I mean, you could send it in. You may get the plan here. You never know. And in a long line with Fragmite, anything's possible. But ED stops it in its tracks, and a massive round for 7th Heaven to be able to take right at the end of the first half.
Very important round. I'm a little confused by Wildcard. I mean, I get the need to try and continue to adapt to 7th Heaven, but I think at least they should have just opened up Barrage Wall so that the pressure was there for the defense. You know, the site players, instead of sitting on cams, they have to be focused on breach, because we talked about how there wasn't much extra intel for 7th Heaven to use to know when the plant is happening, or if there's an attack mounting, or execute mounting, I should say, for Wildcard. So that means site players can't be on cams. But with the garage wall closed for the majority of that round, it meant the site players could actually be on the cams, assist the roam, and I think that did help 7th Heaven. And I don't know, bit strange, but regardless, I think it's a really strong half from Wildcard. Honestly, a 4-2 attack and concert is fantastic for a team that has been struggling.
Right off the bat, I like the double hard breach for 7th Heaven here. You can see Pat on the mute, so it's at least a little bit of wall denial, but you'd imagine that the Maverick will be able to make smooth work of that. But it depends where they're going to put all their attention and how many players they're going to sit up top here. We saw 7th Heaven bring the mirror and obviously use the tried and true method of playing from bathroom there, but I think we just saw, did we just see Vinny lock that right side off in bathroom as well? Can we go back up to bathroom for 2 seconds? Did we see all 3 being reinforced? Yep, there you go. So,
oh yeah.
Yep, so nothing similar.
No, and I mean, that's the thing as well, is like the mirror strat in that public bathroom is such an old strat, honestly. I can think back to really early days of Fnatic playing international matches. Lusty playing Mirror, getting some big rounds on that play, but these days I feel like it's definitely evolved more to reinforcing it off, playing it with a mute. You know, you deny the info of getting into that bathroom, and that's tougher to really flush that player out. But anyway, to each their own. That's the beautiful thing about Siege, is you can play the game very differently with very different strats.
Well, that's not what they would have been hoping for. Seventh Heaven early on have lost the Maverick, meaning only one more hard breacher remains in ED, and Emo's come across to help Geo as well. This could be really dangerous. Wildcard may be able to burn so much time off the board there. And Seventh Heaven may be forced to rotate here, remembering that there's no wall denial on the garage wall at the moment. So they could well be able to put pressure on site if they want to. Souffle playing quite advanced here. He's already up and close. Barrel almost close to the shoulder here. And in this comes... Oh, the timing. Geo just gets away. That's insane.
Still there to contest though. Souffle knows it because of that stun, and he comes out on top. Great frag onto Geo to even it out, but they have lost half the round. They're still trying to get control of this first floor in towards Piano to get the vertical. Pat is still in public bathroom. Emo Rin is still looming on these stairs. Statue. He's going to retreat. And finally now, Manic, the wall is getting opened by this ace.
2 minutes off the clock, and they're finally opening up the wall, and I think that it's a similar situation as to what you were saying before, Raven. Had they been able to do it earlier, maybe Wildcard wouldn't have been as comfortable in playing in those positions. But there we go. Now they're going to get the vertical lines. Now Souffle will only have, I think, one more gadget to really take down the Banshees. There's two Banshees on site, one on top of the black car and one next to the white van. So it's going to be really awkward when push comes to shove here.
It is, and look, Edie's there ready with Diffuser for the plant.
What?
Good night on the SMG 11, gets his first pick for the game. And that's Diffuser outside garage, Wildcard firmly in control in a 4v2 situation.
Should be unwinnable. We've seen some crazier things happen though. So Alex is popping off right now. In come the smoke, babe. See you later. That was almost going to be round done. Now there's an opportunity. Couldn't imagine much of an opportunity. Seventh Heaven is still yet to make it in. They've got no runnable holes at all. Vaultable. And Wildcard will well and truly take that round. Very comfortable on their first defensive side.
That did look very comfortable for them. They had total control of that. It was a beautiful tandem roam from Imoran and Geo upstairs. It took off half the round. It also took away the Maverick players, so now just another opportunity for Hard Breach to make an impact. A great example of where that could have been utilized if they had gotten control of that top floor earlier is maybe on the public bathroom walls to try and flush out that mute player there so they could get the vertical control into garage. So losing that was really impactful. Overall, I just feel like Wildcard are doing a great job countering everything Seventh Heaven are throwing at them right now. And Wildcard are only 2 rounds away from taking this map.
That's crazy. That is so crazy to think. And I'm going to do some reconnaissance here. Let's have a look. Consulate for Wildcard. Okay, so this is a really damning stat for Wildcard. I know that maybe it was Guz brought it up in the pre-show here. But at the last 3 times that we have seen Wildcard play, they have not allowed their opponent to get more than 2 rounds. That is insane. Defender, attacking side, it doesn't make a difference. They've been able to shut that out. Now, arguably, those 3 teams that they have played on Consulate are the 3 best teams in ANZ. That is Order, Knights, and Elevate, who are both playing in the APAC South League. So these are it's not like they're no-namers or maybe it was just a lucky game. They have consistently played well on Consulate, and the fact that they have backed it up here is utterly insane.
Yeah, look, it's in ANZ, it's often known as the home of Wildcard, and I've heard it many a times. Elevate in particular, I think, in an interview when they lost to Wildcard in a 7-2, I think it was Digital said, like, I don't know why we took them to Consulate. I feel like it's going to be a similar sentiment to Seventh Heaven right now, is that they have struggled. I mean, the scoreline shows that. And on top of that, if you look at the individual scores... Oh, okay. Well, Trace is going to get a quick little double there. That's going to help them at least try and get this round back in favor. But what I was going to say is, Seventh Heaven, besides Souffle, had really struggled to have players impacting the scoreboard. That's also an issue. It also shows that maybe they just haven't been able to get a good rhythm as a team. But look, that's a good start to this round for sure.
It's the hope, and highlighted here, Souffle has been unbelievable for Seventh Heaven. More often than not, actually giving them an opportunity to play. So whether that impact will still be able to hold true. This is interesting from Wildcard. They have no one in the basement right now, and I think they have 3 players almost on that top floor. Souffle being spotted out there. No, Emorin still making a nuisance of himself, but regardless, Silex has been pinched. And this is looking really hot from Seventh Heaven, but Pat may have just saved him. Not for long, though.
Ray on the triple is stepping up big for Seventh Heaven right now, but Wildcard are still pressing, and it's just not working out. Pat does trade that one out at least, but Pat is going to have to find at least another 3 to close this round out for Wildcard. Engagement with Pecan outside yellow. ED plant going down. This is looking very much like a Seventh Heaven round.
Pat on the retake. You don't want to dismiss it, but I really do think this, once again, not achievable. And there you go, Pika from behind finds the easy kill. And that is a massive round for Seventh Heaven to be able to take, regardless of the 2, I would say, free openings Ray was given at the start of the round. They looked so much better that time around.
They did. I was a lot more confident for them. And, Ray getting that triple for the round, but the double in particular to start off the frags for the match, or for the round, sorry. I think that was really critical. Didn't quite see exactly where Vinny jumped onto a Claymore. That's a bit unfortunate, but regardless, much stronger from Seventh Heaven. I think that's really important for their confidence, because before this round, they were 1 from 5 actually, for their round count. So much needed. I don't know. Wildcard still feel like they have firm control of this match.
Yeah. Well, they're moving on quite quickly. They're not going to stick in that Archives Towers bomb site. They're going to go straight to Lobby and Piano now. Site that hasn't really seen a lot of success tonight, but I know can be quite awkward in playing it. Now, the last time I saw Wildcard play, they were more than happy to stick quite a bit of attention on that second floor. Obviously, like we were mentioning before, it can be quite deadly and quite dangerous. And you'll see maybe Pat open up some lines here, if I recall correctly. The problem is, we haven't seen Seventh Heaven on Consulate, whereas we've got some VODs from Wildcard, meaning we have something to go off right now. And I'm super intrigued how Seventh Heaven decide to attack this site. First time we're going to see them attempt it tonight. Hopefully to success here. The fairy tale is not over just yet for the Southeast Asian team.
No, look, I think that's an important point to note. This is still winnable for Seventh Heaven. It's a really tough task, and momentum and control of this match really does favor Wildcard right now. But yeah, of course, there's still a chance. So let's see what they've got in the tank right now to try to win this back. Souffle, of course, is been on a bit of a heater for them yet again, proving to be the top player for Seventh Heaven. He continues to step up and get some of these big picks. Yeah, they could definitely find their way back in.
Oh, that's not what the doctor ordered, or how you'd want to start either. Still 2 C4s on the board, and of course Pat will give them so much information should he need to. He's nowhere near him at the moment, but Souffle will be looking to take point, take charge. If history serves true, it's the right player to be doing so as well against the wrong player for Wildcard.
Yep. See how Silex can go in a situation very much aware that there is a player trying to push him from that stairway door in towards Visa. Souffle also wary that there's potentially a shotgun player around the corner. It's a difficult corner to swing, especially if they're close, so might need some kind of pinch. ED is going to get Pat off the board. That's going to be big, and big is Souffle going down to Vincia. This is a good step up for Wildcard on this defense.
Oh, it's
Silex hitting the C4. It's saved by Pecan, though.
That could have been huge for Wildcard. Now in a 3 versus 3, this is looking so achievable for 7th Heaven. Look at their time management as well. They've got a minute left. They've got top floor control. Still 6 drones to work with there, 4 of which are still going to be live if they need to. And Wildcard are left in an awkward predicament where they're going to have to try to funnel back to site and potentially play for the vertical lines.
Gio's still in quite a powerful position here, though, in public bathroom, the way that it's set up. He can deny Piano, he can peek out into chamber to try and deny lobby. Vincia on the flank around, he's going to pick up Sino, so this is again Wildcard, they have top floor control. It's going to put 7th Heaven in a pretty tough predicament, and now less than 30 seconds as well. That does make it even tougher.
So with vertical lines re-established, with Vinny being up top, this is going to be so hard and so dangerous. What a swing from ED now. He's going to look to get a little bit more aggressive. They've taken down Vinny. It's only Gio left. And now the plant will surely start to go down, or are they going to try to pinch him here? He could win this one out. They need to be careful. There's a C4 in hand, and that's not going to be what we wanted. It's stuck on the door frame, and that will allow Pika to find the kill. That C4 could have won them the round, but the buddy system prevails for 7th Heaven.
Wow, so close. If that C4 had been thrown effectively and not hit the door frame, man, I feel like that would have been a denial. Wildcard would have been match point. But instead, Matic, story's starting to change here. 7th Heaven have brought this back to the only 1 round deficit. 5-4, and they have backed 2 rounds in a row. First time they've done so in the match.
Yeah.
So, ooh, pressure back in the camp of Wildcard.
It is. It is, and it's a really good point to make. You know, a 4-2 first half, we didn't really get to see a lot from 7th Heaven. And now, starting to shine a little bit more, a little bit true north for 7th Heaven. As we now go back down to the garage cafeteria hole, we're going to be asking questions. What is this hole going to look like? A 7th Heaven going to lose those players early? All questions that will need to be answered, but in due time, of course. And once again, it does not look like Wildcard are going to look to put any kind of wall denial on the garage wall. In fact, they're going to be using Pat upstairs
10 seconds remaining.
once again in that bathroom position, which I'm sure could be quite tilting.
Definitely going to be hard to flush Pat out of this position with this mute. And again, it's a very strong position for the public bathroom to be held. So, let's see what 7th Heaven can do, because this was the only attack that hasn't been successful for them this half, was that garage cafeteria. In fact, it was quite a dominant victory in the end for Wildcard. One thing I would love to see adapted to by 7th Heaven is maybe focusing more on garage early. Now, Pat could have used a mute jammer onto that wall, and that is going to slow them down. But he can only mute 1 panel unless he's dedicated 2 to the wall and 2 to public bathroom. Didn't quite catch the first couple. But regardless, I feel like if 7th Heaven just focus on that, that'll put more pressure on Pat to maybe have to drop site. I don't know. I think regardless, the map clear didn't really work out for them in round number 7.
So far, we haven't seen a lot from 7th Heaven and how they're going to dictate the pace here. One big thing for them is Ace and Maverick out and Edie in. So, I mean, if Edie falls here, it'll spell disaster. Now, I'm only foreshadowing that, of course. They'll want to ensure the safety and protection, but this is big from Ray. If Ray can get into a more advanced position, it may well just flush these players back. That's all very early, however.
Oh, does hit the tight shot onto Gio, though. That is going to be a very big pressure onto Immerin, but he answers back onto Souffle. That is a huge pick. Souffle being the informed player at the moment for 7th Heaven. He's going to rotate back, and with that trade, and the fact that they've just burnt off a bit over half the round, it still has worked out in favor of Wildcard, but some good adaptation from 7th Heaven.
Certainly so. They've still got Pat alive as well up in bathroom, so as far as 7th Heaven are aware, it's not clear, and surely Pika, there we go, starts to open up. And Pat's just going to sit right in the back corner. It does, however, allow Ray to roam freely. How are they going to find out? No, it is in fact Gonna hold Pat to his word, and down he goes. So now, this is looking so much better from 7th Heaven. They're gonna have all hatches open that they want, and they may be able to abuse here, but look at Emo-Rin. If he comes for a flank there, maybe it.
Yeah, he may not be able to. 7th Heaven are pinching from both sides right now. Time not in their favor though. They've got 3 to find 20 seconds, Manic. This is a lot of pressure on 7th Heaven to be able to tie up this match.
That's it, they need to do so as well. Emo-Rin from behind is going to be able to find that. They have control of Van. Emo-Rin's going to find a second as well. ED not expecting it. Pika and Ray have to try and find the kill. Vinny, no sound cue, but do they have enough time? No, they do not. The diffuser is down in enemy territory. And that is Wildcard pushing to map points.
Oh, yeah, very, very close there. Honestly, I thought 7th Heaven had that. You know, they had done such a great job up to that point. I think diffuser carrier coming down those statue stairs, bit of a mistake. I think an easier entry really would have been down yellow. I mean, maybe they just didn't have the time or the info. Hard to say at that stage. Regardless, a well closed out round from Wildcard in a tough situation does put them on match point. They do have a 2-round buffer as well, and they've secured themselves at least 1 point. That's another note here.
Well, take what you can, I guess. Take what you can and run with it. They will, of course, be looking for the 2 rounds to be converted. At least one of them they need, but the thing that does not really give us the greatest amount of confidence is both of these rounds were, in fact, 7th Heaven. So, when we look back at this, we need to see Wildcard tighten up any loose ends. Because 7th Heaven, they have their number picked here.
10 seconds left before insertion.
So, Wildcard sticking this vertical control for this defense. And as you said, you know, last time this was actually a 7th Heaven attack.
Wow.
Attackers are
They did
moving
a
out
great
to
job.
locate a bomb and defuse
All
it.
ADSs? That was all 3, right?
And the magnet as well, I believe, on the ground.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
a
So they're really, really hard sticking this. And I'm just curious to see whether 7th Heaven really play into it. Looks like only 2 players are around this side of the map. Maybe they're going to try and go for this map control, come up from CO and push across. Either way, I think this is obviously a very important round for 7th Heaven because they need to win it to stay in.
Can it be pushed to around 12? Ray seems to understand that at least there's one there. So right now, I believe that's 2, if not 3 magnets, 3 ADSs. And Ray's spotted them all. And that's just all the intel that he's needed there. So 7th Heaven will need to make that decision. And it looks like they may not really try to flush him out for now. We'll kind of keep an eye on it. Ray just cautious of a run out. So burning a lot of time here though, Wildcard.
On top of that too, full info for Ray because Pat was scanning him through the wall. Now Pat has rotated around, now spotted ED in the lobby. So Wildcard getting great info of these positions of 7th Heaven as they try and mount an attack here. Very lacking impact though. We've got half the round gone. Finally though, there's an opening. Vincia just, I think, undroned from 7th Heaven.
That will come back to haunt them. No doubt about it. Right now, Vinny finds a second here. Reminder on map point. Vinny steps up massive with an opening 2K. And ED looking to find a trade. Oh my god, Vinny is going nuclear right now. Unanswered whatsoever from 7th Heaven, and he has backed away completely onto site. Souffle, for the first time in a couple of rounds, chimes in. And Gio's getting pinched here. This is a much-needed kill, and they find it. Souffle responds in kind to Vinny.
Really not much time left on the clock though. 40 seconds. Running over the breach charge is Ray before it's exploded, I believe. Either way, there's just not much time at all. Diffuser is in such a precarious position. They have to pick this up. They have to try and relocate to be able to get to any kind of plant position. All Wildcard players look like they're on the bottom floor now. They still have the Pulse on the board and 2 C4s for denial. Very tough 15 seconds to 7th Heaven right now.
Remaining.
And Pat's just seen both. Oh, that's it. That's the information done. Surely Wildcard can confirm this right now. They're just going to wait for the plant. And in comes the C4 surely from Pat here. And it's actually on... No! Not safe whatsoever. Wildcard on the back of Pat's C4 confirms the round. And that is a huge win for Wildcard in APAC South.
Massive win, their first win, in fact, for APAC South, and I think, again, they're going to be so happy with that given their recent form, really rising above a hot to trot 7th Heaven. You know, they've been having a great start to their APAC South season. So, yep, big victory here from Wildcard. I'm thoroughly impressed with their constant performance.
Look at that, Silex on the baguette, but it doesn't make a difference when the rest of your team come together. Well, colour me shocked, Raven. I think colour the entire desk, bar Xenox shocked, because that is an upset.
Yeah. Ow! Yeah. Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cards is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Y'all offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big, that's the only way to live. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big. That's the only way to live. Come on. Yeah, come on.
You are clearly an AP 2 top.
Yeah, they tryna at me, I'm running the race. I got gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking that gang out of space. It's best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, but I'm saved by His grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around got me stoned, man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the Oculus case. They sipping only 96. I can't do it on my own, yeah. They judging me off my mistakes. This floor is so heavenly. Most of my friends and frenemies. They're trying to bring out the beast. I'm batting 1,000, my game is elite. I'm running around in the streets. They're trying to catch up, but they still can't compete. I thought they got in my sleep. He told me keep going, cause you got the lead. Count it up, all the brodies came through, then we added up. They was asking me questions, I had it up. I've been running with God, I just leveled up. They won't speak to my face, got that antidote. They been pointing me out like I'm one of those. I can see why they hate, that just ain't me. Tell me a place that I can't go. I don't think they get it, they don't understand. I'ma do it for my homies and my fam. They don't see the vision, they just see the band. Eyes on the money like a rubber band. That is number one, I follow his command. You can try it, you won't get a chance. I'ma keep on going till I can. And abiding by his plan. They tryna end me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking that gang out of space. It's best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, but I'm saved by His grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around got me stoned, man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the Oculus case. They sipping only 96. I can't do it on my own, yeah. They judging me off my mistakes.
Silver step into the play, you bet I'ma hit it. What I'm doing in this game, I did in a scrimmage. Rappers wanting all this beef and burning up bridges. Deep down they dealing with pain, they just wanna admit it. Won't stop till I get it, speed it up when I'm winning. It's silver and undefined, period, no sentence. They tryna give me the fitting, I'ma say Jesus and risk it. Treasure in heaven, generation with them, I pass the baton on my jids. Had to make sacrifices for this, I can fake, had to cut off some friends. Vision late ever since the beginning, go get the bad, then bring it in. Every L was a lesson you did, at the nest, had to handle the biz. I bought a whatchamacallit, and it's chilling right over the fridge.
They tryna end me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking that gang out of space. It's best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, but I'm saved by His grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around got me stoned, man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the Oculus case. They sipping only 96. I can't do it on my own, yeah. They judging me off my mistakes.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the
Welcome back. Sorry for that brief interruption, but we are here. Wildcard just took down 7th Heaven. Xenox, I know you want to say it, so I'm just going to let you say it. Just
Look, I just don't understand how my cranium is so large, but it is what it is, right? That's now two times I've tipped Wildcard to win when everyone else has tipped against them. And what is that? 2-0 to me, I think. Yes. The tweet's gone out, boys. I mean, it's just, you got egg all over your faces. I don't know what else to say. You got to start backing them in.
Well, there you go, Xenox, congratulations. But the real congratulations goes to Wildcard themselves for this victory. Let's go and have a chat with Vinny, my dude.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Hey
Massive
guys,
game.
thank
Look
you.
at that smile on your dial. How are you feeling after that one?
Awesome. Absolutely unreal. It's good to get some points in South APAC, yeah.
Nah, Vinny, they're not your mates. They're not your friends. Don't care what any of them say, all right? You know I've got your back. I have to ask, though, I guess we'll serious tone here. The consulate pick, did that surprise you to see that became available? Because as soon as I saw that, I was thinking, wow, consulate wildcard, surely you guys would have been really happy with that.
Yeah, I definitely think we came out the better team out of the vetoes. The last two maps ended up being Club and Consulate, and we were pretty certain they wanted Club. They seem to be a team that likes to play that map, and they're pretty experienced on it. And we've had a pretty shaky track record with that map recently, so it was a pretty no-brainer decision to go with Consulate. They didn't have much experience, as well as much to vote off on Consulate, so we were kind of going in a bit blind, but we knew the framework that we had for Consulate is pretty strong, and we could come out with a win.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will dig into is maybe the bans a little bit. We on the desk were nerding out, or at least pretending to be semi-smart, when we saw 7th ban the IQ out, forcing the Valk in response. Is there anything more to that? Is that as deep as we were trying to make it out to be, or just pretty straightforward for Consulate?
Yeah, I don't know. The Valkyrie ban on Consulate's pretty straightforward. It's just a bit of like, depends on which team you're going against, but when IQ's gone, it's yeah, just get rid of Valk. I don't know, you sometimes get Nomad banned or something like that, but yeah, it was pretty straightforward ban.
Well, one of my running theories is that the IQ ban is to get you off your comfort, and that clearly did not happen because, hit double digits at 3K in the final round. What's changed, man? You're coming back in form. Is this starting to be a bit of a pattern? You're really feeling it?
I think it's easy to find your form when the team's starting to find their form, and it's becoming a lot easier to find kills and stuff when everybody's kind of on the same wavelength. There was a little period where everyone was kind of not lost, but like trying to really micromanage Silex and get him up to speed. And now that he's like really showing what he can do in that spot, it allows us to be a bit freer and kind of play our own game, which has been really good.
Well, congratulations, mate. A big game here. You finally got yourselves on the board here in APAC South. Anyone you want to thank? Any messages you want to say out to the fans out there?
Of course, thanks to the fans that continue to support us. It's been a pretty shaky few months. Yeah, we appreciate all the continued support, as well as Wildcard, the org, for continuing to support us even during a time like this. They've been nothing but helpful, and yeah, I think that's it.
Well, congratulations once again, Vinny. Go enjoy your night, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there it is. He was looking pretty happy at the start of that one. Big smile on his dial, and a win finally for Wildcard, Guz. Is this the turning point? Is this when they finally start to get themselves to be a competitive team in APAC South? Is this what needs to happen?
Maybe. I mean, you said it yourself. You're going to see Vinny next week, apparently. So you've already put the Mickey on Elevate next week. It seems like Elevate have already got it stacked against them. But in all seriousness, this was a really good performance for Wildcard. I think a lot of the win can probably be attributed to that map veto. So 7th Heaven will need to go back on the drawing board for that. And in future, probably not take Wildcard there. But outside of that, they played the map quite well. And even when it felt like 7th Heaven were gaining some momentum in that second half, Wildcard just put them to bed and finished it off.
Look, all I'm going to say is Wildcard now go to tied 4th with that one result. Can you believe it? Of course, there's 2 other games to play, so that's going to, they won't finish there. But it goes to show you how important it is to get all 3 points and not let games go to OT, whether you lose it or even win it and only walk away with the 2 points. Wildcard are coming. They are improving each game that they play. You look at the rest of their season, they've got Elevate, they've got Knights, and they've got Order. They've got some familiar faces coming up here, and then their very last Playday is against Giants. So right now, the way I look at it, okay, you probably pen Giants in with a win, but the other 3 matches are all against OCN teams. And if Wildcard are improving the way they are, they should be able to dispatch at least maybe 1 or 2 of those, and that might be enough to be able to get them top 4 or at least around the mark and put them in the conversation, which is honestly more than maybe we thought they would actually be, say, a week or even 2 weeks ago, for instance. So it's good signs for Wildcard. It's unfortunate for 7th Heaven, and you kind of have to also look at it from their perspective now. For 7th Heaven, they're kind of free-falling a little bit. They had a great start. They smacked Order in the face in Playday 1. Since then, though, they've been a little bit poor. An OT loss, now into a regular loss. They're trending down.
Well, who knows? Maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we'll look back at this as the turning point for Wildcard in Stage 1. Who knows? But Giants and Elevate are coming up, and they're going to be playing in just a second, so don't go anywhere.